Join
Ayodeji Ajisope
and
Adedamola Lafenwa
on from the dailies every weekday from 9:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. on Solutions 93.9 FM as they dive into the headlines with in-depth analysis and feedback from you on different stories from the national dailies. Start your day by gaining fresh perspectives, uncovering the story behind the story, and join the conversation. Because your voice matters. From the dailies, the conversation never stops.
All right, thank God. It's another beautiful Friday morning in a big and beautiful city of Ibadan, the 10th day in the month of January 2025. My name is Adedamola Lafenwa. With so much excitement of the weekend knocking at our doors, I say you're welcome to From the Dailies, where we get to take you through the stories on the front pages of newspapers this morning. And I have Comrade Ayodeji Ajisope live in the studio with me this morning. A beautiful morning to you, Comrade Ayodeji Ajisope.
Yes, a good morning to you and to the Muslim faithfuls. We say Baraka Jumma. And to the boys out there,
The boys and girls out there getting set.
We say thank God it's Friday.
To paint the town red. Okay. All right. And to the people planning their Owambes too this weekend.
Enjoy yourself.
Okay. Now, looking at the papers this morning, interestingly, on a Friday morning like this, I wasn't expecting the papers, the front pages to be this loaded, but all the papers I have with me this morning are quite loaded. Looking at the Vanguard newspaper, the Nigerian Tribune, the Punch newspaper, the Nation newspaper, and of course the Nation newspaper, the Nigerian Tribune. Now let me take a look at the Vanguard newspaper this Friday morning, which is very loaded. Okay. Starting with the biggest story on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper, insecurity. Nigerians lose loved ones, now live in fear. That is one story that is not so good. And looking at the riders under that caption, mass abductions characterized 2024. Northeast ranks highest. Southeast tops ransom payment. Accounts for 40% nationwide. Cyber criminals defraud Nigerians of 8.8 billion naira. Over 200 security personnel killed. 140 policemen in FCT alone.
That was shocking. For 1 year.
For 1 year. And taking the riders, security experts, CSOs speak on challenges, opportunities in 2025. So much to talk about insecurity in the papers this morning. Okay, away from that now, I have this one saying that budget defense, Edun 6 closed door session on fuel subsidy proceeds. I mean, that is one one area I don't seem to understand. I mean, it was there to defend the budget, the ministry's budget. And when it was being asked about the gains, what are the proceeds from the fuel subsidy, he now said, excuse me, sir, I would like to talk about this in a closed session. I mean, Nigerians are already battling with the aftermath, with the reality of the removal of fuel subsidy. It would have been, I think, it would have been more. It would have been better for him to at least, okay, when he was being asked about the proceeds or the gains of fuel subsidy, and make it open. Why the secrecy? We'll get there.
We'll
talk about that. Because I was wondering why he had to require or request for a closed door session before he could talk about the proceeds from the fuel subsidy removed. Okay, Chadian capital calm after Delhi presidential palace attack. And another not so good story from the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. We are barely 10 days into January, and this story is not good. Bloody January. Accident. Fires claim 242 lives in 8 days.
Just a day.
In 8 days, 242 lives. Accidents, fires claim.
The issue of fires, that my mind raced to California. And, have you noticed that this morning the wind, it's getting windy again?
Yeah.
And when it is windy, if there's any fire, that is a lot of
It
work.
spreads.
So people should be
Very careful.
Very careful.
Be very careful. And the last one I'll be taking from the front page of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Tinubu seeks increase in currency swap between Nigeria, China. Now taking a look at the Nigerian Tribune newspaper, how security operatives bust ISWAP's plan to establish camps in Oyo, and the rider, which is scary, camp meant to coordinate activities in Oyo, Kwara, Osun. Page 5 of the Nigerian Tribune has that story. I'm sure. I remember earlier in the week we spoke about this.
The governor openly spoke about it. Or maybe when we get there, the location of Oyo State, and there's a road that runs from Lagos to Sokoto.
To Sokoto Straight.
And if there is no Oyo, Kwara, Niger, and then just up like that, and the the northern parts of Oyo is just contiguous with those areas.
When we get there, away from that, fuel subsidy proceeds. Finance Minister demands closed-door meeting with lawmakers. Page 4 has that story. Another one, over 120 million workers globally at risk of redundancy. World Economic Forum. Page 6 has that story. And the tax reform bills is in the news again this morning. Tax reform bills. Northern stakeholders demand VAT reduction to 3%. Call for relocation of corporate headquarters of banks, telecom companies to Abuja.
So if they relocate to Abuja, Abuja is the federal capital. It is not a northern state. You understand? You see, people should be introspective. If they relocate and the VAT is ascribed to Abuja, Abuja is still the federal capital territory.
Yes.
Not the northern state.
Not the northern state. All right, this is one story that every one of us, you and I, all workers need to, and even the employers of labor need to listen to. Okay, let me take it again. Stress risk factor for high blood pressures, sudden death. Cardiologists trying to let us know that it is very important to take rest when it is needed. You don't have to overstress yourself because, according to the cardiologists, a lot of people have died suddenly as a result of stress from work.
A friend of mine who is a cardiologist, he keeps calling it the silent killer.
Silent killer. We'll talk about this when the time comes. Now, the Lagos teacher is in the news again. That lady, Stella Wadigo, that was caught on a videotape that went viral, slapping a 3-year-old pupil of a primary school, of a Nigerian primary school. We'll come to that, please. Okay. The lady was arraigned at the court yesterday, and this is the story. Court remands Lagos teacher sets bail at 200,000 naira for assaulting 3-year-old pupil. Page 12 of the Nigerian Tribune.
I'm sure you have the clip.
Yeah, I have the clip here. We have the clip here this morning. Okay, moving away from that. Oyo makes move to choose new Alaafin.
I won't say anything when we get to it.
When I saw this story, I was like, did they listen to our Monday morning edition? That was, on this program on Monday morning, we spoke extensively about what is delaying Oyo's, because we talked about the fact that Owo Obokun died in September.
Yes.
And now we have a new Owo Obokun that has been announced and has been given staff of office. And we've had many of the Yoruba Obas.
Shaun died before Alaafin.
So we spoke on this program on Monday, saying that was when we spoke with media assistant. To
Exactly.
Obokun, that is Isaac Castro, Prince Isaac Castro.
Yeah.
So when I saw this, I was like, probably they listened to us, and they are now taking action. But let's see how it goes. Okay. And the last one I'll be taking: FG rejects foreign mercenaries in tackling insecurity. 6 partnership with China for military equipment production. tell you the front pages of papers are loaded
Loaded.
this morning. And looking at the Nation newspaper this Friday morning, court freezes General Hydrocarbons accounts over $225.8 million debt to First Bank. Now, Okpeholo, the Edo State governor, is in the news. Okpeholo Council chiefs unable to account. Okay, let me take it again. Okpeholo Council chiefs unable to account for 83 billion naira allocation. Okay, well, there's a clip on that.
When he's saying it, they are allegations.
There are allegations.
Has he reported to the appropriate security
I have a
agency?
clip here which we'll play in the course of the program if time permits us, when he said that he had already written the EFCC
And
to
supply,
prove
and supply them with relevant documents.
relevant documents. Okay, moving away from that, Sanwo-Olu signs 337 trillion naira budget, inaugurates Ikeja GRE roads. CBN suspends export proceeds repatriation extension. Council poll, court to rule on Osun APC case next week. Edun Idris take first shot as 2025 budget defense opens. Okay, moving away from the Nation newspaper now to look at the Punch newspaper. Afenifere Igboho offers support as police squad combats Southwest bandits. Power stagnates at 4,500 megawatts despite $3.23 billion loans. Wherever the money was spent on, wherever the money went to, only God knows. Nigeria-China plan collaboration on military training, arms production. And moving away from that to Biden, Trump, others pay tribute as U.S. buries Jimmy Carter. He was buried yesterday. Senate grills finance minister over subsidy savings. Man jailed 2 years for defrauding American of $345,000. And the last one, Sanwo-Olu signs 3.36 trillion naira 2023-2025 budget, opens 5 roads. And the last...
the man that duped somebody was given an option of 2 million naira fine.
with that money... You know, sometimes, well, all due respect to our judges, but sometimes
The law.
you begin to wonder. Let me keep my mouth shut on that. I don't want to say anything that will put me on the hot spot this morning. Okay, looking at the Guardian newspaper now, northern groups seek reopening of land borders. Lagos, this is an interesting one. Lagos lowers FARC expectations, targets 2.3 trillion naira IGR. We will talk about that. Definitely.
Seriously.
We'll need to talk about that. And what other governors should emulate from
Exactly.
Sanwo-Olu. Okay, now, pediatric nutrition. This is another health story. Pediatric nutrition. Health concerns over affordability, safety, quality of infant meals. Talking about the high price of the infant cereals that parents, mothers are not able to afford, and they are now resorting to the local pap, and
Yeah.
it's so sad. Now, Senate erupts as Edun 6 executive session on fuel subsidy proceeds. Let me take one more story now. Court summons Minister AGF over expatriate levy implementation. Okay, I told you that
They
the
loaded,
papers
were loaded today.
are loaded this morning. But because of our time, it's 9:45 on Solutions 93.9 FM. It's from the dailies, and one after the other, we'll be looking at these stories. Let me see, where do we start? Probably should start from the insecurity issue. Comrade Ayodeji Chokwe. But let me tell you that you can be a part of the program by calling in our studio line 0909-888-9939, 0909-888-9939, or 0912-222-2939. You can as well drop your comment on our Facebook page, Solutions 939 FM. Now let's look at the story on the front page of Vanguard newspaper this morning. It says, insecurity. Nigerians lose loved ones, now live in fear. And looking at the breakdown of this riders, mass abductions characterized 2024. Northeast ranks highest. Southeast tops ransom payments. accounts for 40% nationwide. Now, looking at this breakdown, do we say that our security agencies or agents are simply being overwhelmed by this? For this huge thing to have been recorded in 1 year.
And the graphics, the optics.
Very
Now,
scary.
Quite scary. And now, okay, let's take a look at the security configuration, the one they love to call the security architecture of Nigeria. The police is responsible primarily for internal security. So what is our police looking like?
Okay.
How many men do we have? Nigeria's population is, according to the United Nations Population Fund, this morning, 230 million people in a space of 1 million square kilometers. How many men and women do we have in Nigeria's police force? We have 500,000 marks. And what is the distribution of these men and women? What are they doing? How many are on the policing beat? How many numbers are, taking care of our VIPs and political appointees? Maybe a quarter of them are, and of course, those who are on guard duty here and there, and then office duties. So how many men are actually, out there doing the policing? You and I know that what underpins this thing we call security is intelligence. Now, what is the intelligence gathering capacity of Nigeria's police, the Nigeria police force currently? And are there guarantees if you are an informant or a volunteer that you are safe and secure? We have had instances of people volunteering information and their safety is compromised. How do the criminals get to know that somebody volunteered information to the police? So all of this, and then communication is key in policing. How many policemen do you see carrying walkie-talkies? It is only, their patrol vehicles have a radio. And then maybe the DPOs. Those are the people you see carrying walkie-talkies. Now, how do you then communicate? You understand? There is a breach of security. You can't stop them. They have gone beyond you. How do you alert the nearest police ring? You understand? To coordinate them up. You don't see them. And then you hear the issue of tracking bandits call and all of that. There was a time the police were complaining that their own systems, equipments are broken down, that they had to go to the office of the National Security Advisor and all of that. So the things that will aid, you understand, securing the country, tracking, and then some of these forensics, the basic forensics, they have to be taken out of the country. So some of these things, they are not just there. And these are things that were there in the 70s and 80s.
So whose responsibility is it to put these things in place?
There is a police minister, there is a police council, there is a police service commission, there is the office of the IGP. So there are the allocations given to them. So what happens? I don't think any police division receives operational costs from whether from the state or from Abuja. I don't think so. That's why you see them trying to raise funds in one way or the other to run their offices.
But with the present state of insecurity has been put by the Vanguard newspaper this morning, do you feel that the police, the Nigeria police, is still capable, or they have enough men to handle? Should this issue be left in the hands of the Nigerian police alone? Don't they need assistance from sister bodies?
Since the 60s, in the Middle Belt, the Nigerian army has always been involved in internal security operations. We have seen them all over the place. We have seen them in the southeast. We see them even in the southwest, in internal security. Of course, you see Operation Burst in Oyo State, for instance. The army are involved.
Yeah.
You understand? In some other states where riverine states or the Delta states, the Niger Delta states, you won't see the Navy involved in internal security operations because of the terrain, you understand? So the terrain determines all the configuration. So Operation Boss is, the Army has been very, very, and that is internal security. And you and I, of course, know that we are exposing the military unduly in the internal security, because interfacing with people like that.
Well, probably maybe they had to intervene because the police seem to be overwhelmed.
They had to. I mean, you know the psyche of the people when they see the military camouflage as different from the police camouflage or police uniform. You know the way the people react to that, because they are trained to kill, to maim and kill.
But Comrade, because of our time, what should be put in place? Because this kidnapping, has really taken a very alarming trend. I mean, gone are the days when people were being picked up or kidnapped along the highways. Now they come into your residence.
Police is the answer. And then the decentralization of policing.
Remember, there was a particular story about a family, an entire family that were stopped along while traveling for Christmas celebration, and they were stopped and they were all taken away, abducted.
Yeah, I mean, not even on the highway. They are going into people's homes.
This happens on a daily basis, and we've even had some of these so-called bandits displaying the cash
that they have
they received in the name of ransom. In social media, they display them and they take pictures, do videos with them, and these people are yet to be tracked.
And police track people who post stuff on social media.
Especially when you speak against the government.
And they track them and get them.
They track them. So why are they not being able to track these people?
The criminals.
So
I see.
They make calls.
Yeah.
What is the essence of the NIN, the linkage, and the BV, or whatever
you can track? You can track calls.
They abduct family members. They call their family members. Mm-hmm. None of this. What is so difficult in tracking all those things?
I think when we reduce, look, Abuja police commissioner is not even responsible to the governor. The governor can say, do this, and they say, I'm not responsible. I don't answer to you. I'm not responsible to you. I take instructions from Abuja. I think we have to decentralize policing. Look, I think we realize that now. You know, there's a debate going on in the National Economic Council. They will soon make a presentation to the National Assembly. The next round of constitutional amendments. I hope that will take care of that. It should not be state policing. It should be local policing.
But you know, many Nigerians already believe that probably, like I said earlier on, maybe our security agencies or agents are being overwhelmed. They can't handle the spate of insecurity. Because now, that's why some people are suggesting maybe we should employ or engage the use of foreign mercenaries to help our security forces to tackle. But now on the Nigerian Tribune, FG is saying that FG rejects foreign mercenaries in tackling insecurity.
Now, when you use foreign mercenaries, you want to push back, you understand? You want to regain territory or secure territory. Now, what about maintaining? What about the maintenance? Do you realize that what the scenarios we have seen in the north, the military will retake a location, from the bandits, insurgents, or whatever, and then move forward. And those insurgents will go around the military
and regroup again behind them. Yes.
So it's about it's beyond just taking territory. It now goes to securing territories. Now that means there is something beyond just shooting at each other. The people who occupy territory you have retaken, you must have them on your side. That is the work of the police. It is not the work of the military. The military is not trained to take and secure, and stay there. And it's like governing. The military they are not trained to have civil relationships. So that is, the police are trained in that. So that is a huge gap. That is why Lagos State. Lagos State, apart from payment of salaries, maybe that comes from Abuja, 3/4 of everything else is done for the police by Lagos State government. You know what? Let's not even go far. Let's come to Oyo State. You remember how Oyo State governor has equipped the security agencies, not just police.
And security agencies in general.
In general. Yeah. Beyond cars, all kinds of support, including the military. So, and you say you are not responsible to the governor, and he's the one, providing you virtually everything. So why don't you localize policing, for God's sake?
Do we have enough men to handle these bandits?
Currently in the
Because I've seen, you and I have seen some clips of these bandits gathering. Some of them are in groups of 2,000, in thousands.
It is not your regular warfare where the army of one country will be on this side and you will be on this side.
I understand.
You understand?
I understand.
It is not. It is an asymmetrical. Okay, you pin the bandits down. You kill them, push them out, and then you advance, as they say. And then they send another group.
And the surviving ones
and the surviving
will
goes around you. I mean, that's not normal warfare. It's an asymmetrical war, and that's the way it pays them. So, and you will look vulnerable. How many men are you going to have? If we had 1 million soldiers and you deployed 300,000 to the northeast and then to the northwest, come on. I mean, it's a difficult war to win, especially if there's no linkage between the people and the authorities. There must be synergy. It is beyond shooting at each other.
Okay, now talking about the insecurity, I mean, it has been more, talking about banditry and stuff like that, it has been more rampant in the north and the northwest and north central. But now we heard the story sometime last week or earlier this week that there were plans by these bandits to move into the southwest, which we also discussed on this platform, I think earlier this week. But in the papers this morning, on the Punch newspaper, Afenifere Igboho offers support as police squad combat southwest bandits. And on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune, how security operatives bust ISWAP's plan to establish camps in Oyo, and that camp is meant to coordinate the activities in Oyo, Kwara, and Osun State.
Damola, these things, like they say, is not rocket science.
But like Yorubas will say, Ombo, Awala Dede.
God bless you for what that. That's why I said these things.
Because it's coming closer to us.
It is not
now.
rocket science. As you were reading the story, and my mind went to Nigeria's Premier University. That university is blessed with globally renowned, not acclaimed, renowned security experts. Globally known security experts that are consulting for Pentagon. If our Nigerian security experts can consult for Pentagon for God's sake, what use are we making of them? They are there. Look, northwest, where banditry is occurring. When you move, you know that there's a road that runs from Lagos to Sokoto. If a road can run directly from Lagos to Sokoto, you know there must be some geographical contiguity. We know that the northern parts of Oyo State, you just move into Kwara, and then you move into Niger, and you know the security situation in Niger. And then from there, the fringes, just like that, you run to Sokoto. Even we that are not security, you know that when those guys are challenged and isolated in that place, they'll just start running down. And Niger State, with massive land space and thick forest, I have traveled this country, and I know how dense and then Savannah, yes, but those fringes of Kwara, they are inhabited too. And then our own forests here in northern parts of Oyo State, expanse of forest. And then we are now saying, of course, that was going to be the next thing. You understand? And when they have pressure from Niger, there's pressure from Niger, they will come down south. So, is that rocket science? And yet, we have people in UR here who are thinking, one of them is a consultant to Africa.
That the government is not making use of.
We're not. Think for us. This is your expertise. Think for us. Think ahead. Draw scenarios. And the man, one of them, Professor Albert, has always told us, look, it is only in Nigeria that our generals want to design their battle plans and fight the battle. You design and fight the battles.
Okay.
So, well, thank God. For the governor to have come out openly, you know that action had already been taken. It's not just crying wolf.
Okay, let's move away from security matters now. Let's come to beat to this education story that has to do with the Lagos teacher. Now, according to the Nigerian Tribune, court remands Lagos teacher, sets bail at 200,000 naira for assaulting 3-year-old pupil. And I want to just let me try to read the story from the Punch newspaper this morning. Lagos teacher arraigned for slapping 3-year-old pupil, pleads not guilty. I mean, she pleaded not guilty,
Yeah.
despite the fact that she was caught on camera slapping.
Well, you know the onus is always on.
Maybe we should
Like
just take
this,
a
right, dancing for me, like this, right, dancing for me,
listen to
like
us on
this,
Facebook
right,
that
dancing for
viral
me,
video how
like
that
this,
little
right,
boy was being
dancing
slapped
for me,
repeatedly by
like
the
this,
teacher,
right,
Stella Wadigo.
dancing for me, like
you see the
this,
force?
right,
Yeah, the force, I mean,
dancing for
propel
me.
the boy backward.
to the head.
like
I mean,
this,
looking at,
right,
let me just read the
right,
story. Stella Wadigo, a
dancing
teacher
for me,
arrested for physically
like
assaulting a
this,
3-year-old
right,
Christ
dancing
Michael
for me.
International School in the Ikorodu area of
like
Lagos
this,
State.
right,
Appeared before
right, dancing for me.
Cusano
Like
of
this,
the
right,
Oba
right,
Court on Thursday.
dancing for me.
Wadigo, who was apprehended after
Right,
a video
like this,
surfaced
right,
online showing her
right,
repeatedly slapping
dancing
the
for me.
young child. Abayo
Right,
Michael
six,
reportedly
like
pleaded
this,
not
right,
guilty to the
right,
charges
dancing
read to
for
her.
me.
The Lagos
Like
State
this, right,
Investigation
right,
Sexual Violence
dancing
Agency
for me.
disclosed this in an update
Like this,
on
right,
X
right,
on Thursday.
dancing
The
for me.
statement read following the ongoing
Like
viral
this, right,
case of the child
right,
abuse. All
dancing
the
for me.
concerned parties appeared today.
Like this,
Live
right,
journalist
right,
Oba
dancing
Magistrate
for me.
Court. And let me
Like
take the
this,
last
right,
sentence.
right,
The matter was
dancing
assigned
for me.
to Magistrate M.O.
Right,
Cusano.
like
2
this,
charges
right,
were read.
right,
Suspect to
dancing
which she
for me.
pled not guilty.
Like this, right, right, dancing for me. Right, six, like this, right, right, dancing for me. Like this, right,
I want us to dwell
right,
more on the
dancing
professional,
for me.
the
Like this, right,
professionalism.
right,
Yeah.
How do you
dancing for me.
subject a 3-year-old pupil
Right,
to this
six,
kind of
like this, right,
This is
right,
just the one we are
dancing
seeing.
for me.
There are many other things going
Like
on in
this,
so many
right,
schools that we
right,
don't know. That's why you see some of these
dancing
kids
for
that they find it so
Right,
hard. They feel
six.
reluctant to go to school, but they can't confide in their
Like
parents.
this,
or their
right,
discipline,
right,
these teachers.
dancing for me. Like this, right, right, dancing for me. Like this, right, right,
Maybe when teachers
dancing.
realize
of Nigeria, the governor of Lagos State, my CP, like ground arrest.
that's what they have on their hands, maybe they will understand the weight and the implications of their assignment. And then it is time to fully professionalize teaching.
Under the president of Nigeria, the governor of Lagos
It's just
State,
another job. You just go there and do the motions, you know? The motions. I ask people.
under the president of
Are you
Nigeria, the
enjoy what
governor of
they're
Lagos
doing?
State, my CP, like ground arrest.
You see, this
But looking at this lady, the teacher there,
Under the
lady,
president of
Stella
Nigeria,
Wadigo,
the
she
governor of
looks
Lagos State,
more
my
mature.
CP, like
No one
ground
would have
arrest.
expected her to at least treat a young child that
what
way.
was the offense of the
Under the
little boy?
president of Nigeria, the
Yeah,
governor of
on the audio, the little boy couldn't write figure 6 and 1 to put 6 and 1
How
together.
old is the boy?
To make, they say he's 3-year-old.
That
Under the
is
president of Nigeria, the governor of Lagos State,
He's a 3-year-old boy.
that is preschool. It is not school. You are teaching a child of 3
Under the
preschool. You are
president of
teaching him
Nigeria,
61.
the
What are you
governor
going
of
to do
Lagos
with
State,
61?
my CP, like ground
61.
arrest.
3-year-old boy. That is not school.
Under
That
the
is
president of Nigeria, the governor of Lagos
It's not
State,
4, it's not 5. You are teaching him 61. What's he going to do with 61? What is the 3-year-old going to do with number 61?
under the president of Nigeria, the governor of Lagos State,
And I learned that
Right, six,
pupils at
like
primary,
this,
I
right,
mean,
right,
5-year-old
dancing
pupils
for me.
now come home with
Right, like this, right, right,
I
dancing
laughed when I
for
saw
me.
this. A 5-year-old
Like
being
this, right.
exposed to romanticism. I mean, I was asking,
for me.
who is in charge of this
Right.
curriculum that they are using? Because they seem to be overloading these kids with too much things.
You hear primary school pupils. They say, they are coming back home 5 p.m. You say, where is it? The one lesson. I laugh.
Looking at this boy now, looking at this 3-year-old
One
boy.
lesson.
When we were at this stage, all we could do was to identify, okay, this is a cop.
It's
Letter
preschool.
A.
It is not school.
Now you are beating this child for not being able
61.
to put 6 and 1 together or write 6 and 1
Like this.
together.
What's he going to do?
Like this, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Child.
Write 6 for
I
me.
remember, you know,
Like
sort of
this,
thing.
right.
I remember
Right.
when they used to call it
Write
summer
6
school.
for me.
And
Like this,
my father was-
right. Right.
holiday,
Write 6 for me.
I think
Like
that
this,
was
right.
My father
Right.
told me, he said,
Write 6
why
for
you
me.
people headed? I said, summer
Right.
school.
Like this,
After
right.
this was
Right.
stop
for me.
all that nonsense. You're on vacation.
Right.
What summer
Six.
school are you doing?
Vacation, you are meant to
I
rest.
said, stop all that.
Like this, right. Right. Write 6
See,
for
they are
me.
doing less.
Like this,
From
right.
8 o'clock
Right.
to
Write
6
6 for
hours.
me.
I know that's even 8 hours. I mean 6
Right.
hours. Yeah,
Like this, right.
parents are
Right.
selfish.
Write 6 for
Parents
me.
are ignorant. They
Right.
want
Like
their own
this,
time.
right.
So they want to
Right.
engage. Look,
Right.
there is a
For me.
level to which
Like
this
this,
head can
right.
absorb
Right.
things.
Right.
Even as
For
an
me.
adult, you get to a
Like
saturation
this,
point.
right.
When you get to that
Right.
saturation point,
Like this, right. Right. Write 6
it's
for
like
me.
winding a
Right.
Akutama wind here. And when you wind it up, can you wind it anywhere again? It's the hard thing. It has to
Or wine itself.
this thing, this your boy 3-year-old, you are teaching him 61. I don't understand what.
Now,
you want
even
to
if
do
at
with
all
this
you are
one.
to punish this kind of, there should be at least there should be a kind of punishment for different age of these pupils. I mean, hitting a 3-year-old boy on the head repeatedly like this,
Now, is there any form of supervision? Is there any form of regulation?
and for someone to have recorded this clip, probably the lady, the teacher, has been doing this for so long.
how many of them?
6. Like this, right. Right. Write 6 for me.
You know, ideal
Right.
situation. There shouldn't be more than
That is the class.
how many of them? You know, ideally, you have 6.
Under the president of Nigeria,
of
the
them
governor of
in that
Lagos State.
class. Because you know, children, how many children can you manage at a time? If you are left at the
Under
mother,
the
you are there
president of
with
Nigeria, the governor of Lagos State.
you be running a together to manage.
Shouting.
Just manage to, and then they will put 10, 12. So the teacher will be overwhelmed. Except you have an assistant in normal setting. The teacher will have an assistant, not necessarily a teacher, for somebody to manage the kids. So you see, regulation, curriculum. We don't. What are we teaching them for? You understand? What are we teaching them for?
Who should set the record straight as regards curriculum? Because we are exposing these young lads to something bigger than their brain capacity.
Ministry of Education now, they are the regulators, they are the custodians. They regulate. They have different directorates there. Go to Ministry of Education. There is no directorate that they don't have. They have regulation there. But you see, even the teachers in those schools, are they qualified to teach?
You know, I have a friend that once told me that sometimes when his kids bring homework assignment from school, he himself is unable to solve these things. He will have to be calling the teacher. I mean, you see, you can just imagine what these kids have been.
Okay, where did they get those stuff they are giving those children from? I mean, as assignment, where did they get it from?
If you go to the school to complain, they will open the school curriculum. I mean, the state curriculum. I mean, the educational curriculum. That's what they are sticking to. So, who is designing this curriculum?
You and I know that some schools don't follow. They have their own, design curriculum. Yes, so they will teach them to pass those exams. You understand? But they have curriculums targeted at, attaining some other level that is different from. That's why by the second month, it has been on my mind since December. Our education. Look, today in the tech industry, the biggest tech industries in the whole world now, count numbers 1, 2, and 3. You will find an Indian at the top. Why? They had a plan. And it was not a 1, 5, 10-year plan. How do we get there? A 25-year plan. So all the big tech companies in the world today, that is how we should be deliberate and intentional about our education. Maybe you have heard that they say they are teaching them technical skills now. They want to teach technical skills. They always put the cart before the horse. They will say it, and then they will go back and start devising the plan.
Okay. It's still from the Daily Zone Solutions 93.9 FM. Interesting stories on the papers this morning. And since we're talking about kids, there's another one that has to do with infants now, but this one is tilting towards the health sector. Pediatric nutrition, health concerns over affordability, safety, quality of infant meals. And the body of the story is talking about how inflation has jacked up the prices of baby foods, which has forced mothers to lesser and cheaper and nutritious alternatives.
Well, I have never really been. Of course, I'm sure that is what we were fed with. You know, these all these import. I'm sure that's what we were fed with. These imported stuff.
Somebody was telling me a particular brand, the price of a particular brand of this baby food. I was like, "Where?"
You won't believe it.
I couldn't believe it. I mean,
And the baby will take in a week. Not just
interesting.
for
Some
the
of them are as high as 23,000, 25,000
now.
naira per can.
Yes.
And God help you when you have a baby that will consume that can, about maybe 3 of that in a week.
Yes, now. So, and what do you get from them, really? Honestly, before God and man, what do you get from them? Number one, this thing they call local. I saw a baby grow up about 5-6 years ago. The mother, it was at a leading hospital, tertiary health facility that the mother was told. Breast milk and a mixture of baba, the one they call baba, those tiny brownish one.
Yeah.
And then those tiny ede, you know, they're not fully grown.
Crayfish, the small ones.
The small ones. And I can't remember one other thing. Yes, and soya.
Yes.
You know those combinations are highly nutritious.
Yes.
Whether for a baby or even for an agbalagba.
But now, are they still affordable?
They cannot be as
the combinations you mentioned.
You sure know they cannot be anywhere near expensive as this. They are so nutritious
I know.
and so healthy.
I know.
Yes, they will have gone a little expensive too. And they are certainly safer.
How many parents can afford that? That
No.
mixture that you talk, that combination you just
No.
spoke about now.
Children were fed with ogi alone as babies and
In
infants.
those days.
In those days.
And we survived.
And we survived.
Okay.
And you know, the baba, even though if you don't add the crayfish, you know how nutritious soya is. I don't think soya is so expensive. Yes, the preparation processes can be tedious, but I think people have found a way around it. I had never really been a fan of those infants. I'd never really, although I know that's what we were fed with, but I'd never really been a fan of it.
Okay. It's still from the Daily Zone Solutions 93.9 FM. Let's go on this commercial break. We'll be right back.
There is a place full of comfort, so beautiful with serene environment, good ambience for relaxation, complimentary breakfast, free internet service, and 24 hours electricity supply with maximum security guaranteed. No doubt about it. This is heaven on earth. This is Channel 8. Visit us at number 9 Babijo Street off Laduke Akintola Street, Ikolaba, Bodija, Ibadan, Oyo State. Telephone 0909 5180 592 or 0802-3099-414. Email info@channel8.com.ng. Website www.channel8.com.ng. Channel 8 Premium Hotel. Hospitality redefined.
You're welcome back from that commercial break. It's from the Daily Zone Solutions 93.9 FM. Still plenty stories to talk about this morning. Let's talk about this one that has to do with the Finance Minister, Wale Eddo, who appeared before the Senate yesterday to defend the budget of the ministry. Now, interestingly, okay, let me put it as it is been written on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. Fuel subsidy proceeds. Finance Minister demands closed-door meeting with lawmakers. And virtually all the papers have that particular story saying that Wale Eddo, the minister in charge of the budget and budget ministry, budget planning ministry, and whatever they call it, requested for a closed-door session before he could talk about the proceeds from fuel subsidy that Nigerians are still yet to recover from. I mean, if he had made that public, it would have been a kind of a hope for Nigeria. Oh, okay, we now see the gains of what we're suffering or what we are having to, why we're having to go through all this. But why did he request for a closed door meeting when he was being asked that particular question? That what are the proceeds, what are the gains from the removal of fuel subsidy?
Now, budget defense. I've attended budget defense as an aide to the CEO, and I've sat in budget defense sessions as a senior legislative aide in the National Assembly. Of course, it's usually held in those committee rooms, and it's an open thing, you understand? It's an open thing. The minister, the honorable minister, has a right to demand, to request, let me not use the word demand, to request, because he was very tactful about it. His choice of words, I was even surprised at his choice of words. He said, I humbly request that. I said, are we in a closed session? He said, no. He said, I humbly request an executive, the one they call executive session.
Okay.
Yes, he has a right to request for that if he has classified information to reveal. But he did not say he had classified information to share. All they asked for was
what are
subsidy.
the gains? What are the
gains?
proceeds?
And the gains and the proceeds. What happened to that? He said you want to go into a closed session. Why? You understand? What? I do not.
Why the
understand.
secrecy?
Why the secrecy? I mean, you bring your budget to the National Assembly for scrutiny. It is in the open space, you know. I do not understand what he wanted to share with the committee. But beyond all of this drama that is going on, don't forget that the National Assembly has promised to pass the appropriation bill at the last day of this month. And you know also that before that, there will be harmonization between the two chambers. And that harmonization is not going to happen because as Minister of Finance is being grilled there by the Senate, it will still be grilled by the Finance and Appropriation Committee of the House of Representatives. So figures arrived at by the, will now be harmonized. They are not likely to arrive at the same thing. So it should be harmonized, and it's not going to be done overnight. So that will take minimum of 10 to 14 days. Of course, they usually work overnight and round the clock when the pressure is like this. But it simply brings the time they're going to work on this budget to about maximum 3 weeks. That doesn't look good. That doesn't look good. And we're going to hear stories. People are pouring over the figures now. Those guys will have, those who are interested will have employed consultants in these matters to pull out, fine cook for them to go through it, and then they will pull. And then when they pass it, they will start throwing darts and bombs.
Again.
Just wait.
All right, before we come to your state, let's take a look at what Lagos state government has just done. Lagos Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu signed the 2025 budget into law. And one particular thing that featured in that budget is something I feel that all other state governors should emulate. According to the Guardian newspaper now this morning, Lagos lowers FAC expectations, targets 2.3 trillion naira IGR. I mean, for a state governor to decide, or a state government to say, okay, we don't want to put our hopes on FAC allocation. Let us look inwards and see how we can. Let us look for how we can generate more revenue for the state. But we have some state governors that I don't want to mention the names. Some state governors that they have relied so much on the FAC coming from the federal government.
Well, that's a big lesson. Just yesterday, one of the governors was alleged to have attacked the president, and what he was saying,
Bala Muhammad.
The content of what he was actually saying was that the tax bills, one portion of it, the VAT, will affect the northern states. Just to corroborate what you're saying. When
all eyes on the FAC,
eyes on the FAC, and you guys claim to be federating units, and yet you are still going cap in hand. This was not the Nigeria that was negotiated. This is what it's a big issue. This is not the Nigeria that was envisioned by the founding fathers of this union. Not a nation where the federating units will go cap in hand. You understand? We need to reverse this trend. Federating units should be federating units. I keep asking, when did you hear of Jakande going to Jordan Barracks or going to the airport to meet Shehu Shagari? Or did you ever hear of Bola Ige of blessed memory going to Jordan Barracks to plead with or even Abubakar Rimi? What I mean?
Do we now say this federal allocation is making some of the state governors redundant? I mean, making them, I don't want to use the word clueless, but it's making them lazy. And say that they don't want to do anything extra, at least to generate more funds.
They don't want to. Even
within.
They don't want to. They just, And
now that the FAC has increased drastically.
What about other things that has increased too? What about this? What about the salaries that they have to pay? The wages that they have to pay now that have ballooned. So you understand? That's why some of them don't want to pay those new wages. You understand? Because they are thinking of the contracts that they're going to award, where they will get their payoff and all of that. So they say, where are we going to get money to do all of that? So that's why some of them don't want to. I don't even understand how Oyo State to be doing this thing with the recent employment that the man has embarked upon, in spite of the huge wage bills.
All right, let's come to Oyo State as we close this morning. Oyo makes move to choose new Alaafin. When did Alaafin die? About Lamidi Adeyemi III.
I remember that Seun died in 2022, December. Alaafin died a few months after.
Okay. That's about going to about 3 years now.
The whole of 2023, the whole of 2024.
Let's say for almost 3 years now. Oyo,
yes.
Oyo has been without a monarch. But thank God, I think that issue has been I don't know what to put it. They've put it up again. So what do we expect now? Looking at this
What does the
headline.
story say?
Oyo makes move to choose new Alaafin. Commissioner summons local government chairman, kingmakers.
You see? And immediately,
As we wrap up in
immediately
2 minutes.
this happened. The head of the Oyomesi, I think, well, this a process chose
A
one
particular
place.
individual. Yeah.
And so when they summoned these people, they appointed warrant chiefs, and that man said, you see, the 2 local government chairmen, the warrant chiefs were appointed, and the one you make the head of this process now, he said he's one of those people that were against the process that has been concluded. He said they have concluded the process, and the matter even went to court. And there is even some pending legal matters. I don't understand, though. I don't understand some of these things. You understand? So let us see how the things goes legally. But, this
But one thing I don't understand is what is making the Oyo stool taking this long?
Because the Oyomesi say they are the kingmaker. I sent you the stories.
Yes, they said they have appointed a particular person. A
They
prince.
have appointed a king.
So we're saying no to that.
It is the duty of the two local governments. I think Atiba and Oyo East. That oversee the processes. And the process was concluded by them. And then they will give it to the local government. Because one of these processes, a friend of mine was the secretary of that local government. You understand? Not this Oyo one, no. And he said, we have concluded the process. It was the one that oversaw, supervised. And they sent it to the commissioner for chieftaincy affairs, local government and chieftaincy affairs. And then, of course, that will be for the governor to approve. And some kingmakers were arrested.
Yeah,
They said
picked
collected
up by the
money.
EFCC.
They said they collected money. So the government has not announced that they nullified that process. They just government and a matter that is in court. You understand? Has been in court, and the court said a court said the process was validly done. A high court in this state, it is on record that the process was validly done. The governor said something. I remember the governor said something on air that some people are compromised, and you didn't say. I'm not sure the government has said they have nullified it. So they said they have started another process.
Let's keep our fingers crossed and let's see how it plays out.
But all this, I don't even want
Interferences.
in our traditional institutions.
Doesn't speak well.
It doesn't speak well. But they say the governors are the latest oracles in town.
Comrade Adeja Jokwe, thank you very much for being a part of the program this
My
morning.
pleasure always.
Wishing you a very wonderful weekend. All right, that's the wrap for today and for the week. We'll be back Monday morning for a fresh edition of From the Dailies on Solutions 93.9 FM. My name is Adedamwala Lafenwa, urging every one of us to stay safe and enjoy a very wonderful and fruitful weekend. Good morning once again.
This is the remix, yo. Juju hip hop, yo. Remix, yo. Bringing in something new to yo. Wally Thompson, the remedies, yo. Y2K, Candace Music, bringing something new to your neighborhood. My make trees in the out, yo Wally, get up the microphone, come on y'all. Wale mama deo. Say what I can hear you. Alo ilo mberede. What you say, what you say, what you say, come on y'all. Awade. Jiggy, jiggy, jiggy. Wale mama deo. Pambolo, Mbokolo, Alakonji Mareo, and it's the Reti Made. Now, check it out. One time. Wale Mama Deo. Y2K, Remedies, KYC. Alo Ilo, Can you feel it, baby?